Hey there, it's Angela, and I'm so glad you found your way here to architecting. Creative careers can be stressful, and it's hard to be vulnerable, but this is your landing pad for raw honesty. I'll help you get clarity, reconnect with your passion, and have the career of your dreams. If you're ready to make a difference, have an impact, and say bye-bye to burnout, stick with me, and let's get architecting.
Hey, Bright Lights, welcome back to Architecting. Can you believe it is already March of 2025? And March is Women's History Month. There's a lot of great milestones we're going to be celebrating here in the architecting community, including what we're going to talk about today, which is Women in Construction Week. We're going to unpack some of the false choices that women make, some of the assumptions that get made both by women and about women that need to stop. March 8th is International Women's Day. Stay tuned for a great episode. I'm going to be interviewing Sarah Kleiner. She is the owner of a small business. She helped to start our Women in Architecture chapter here in Cincinnati at AIA Cincinnati. And she also leads the small firm exchange for AIA Ohio. You definitely want to make it a point to stay tuned. It's coming out on Saturday on International Women's Day. I also have a great episode coming up with Andrea Libras, who offers some great insights about ways that women particularly need to flip the script on a lot of the things that we see as holding us back and why we don't have to. You will definitely want to stay tuned for that episode as well. Now, as I have thought about these issues and gone through these interviews, what I am realizing is that a lot of this comes down to leadership abilities. You don't just get a leadership role because you want one. You have to show that you are a leader way before you get any kind of title. That is why I wanted to open up my leadership challenge again just for Women's History Month. And I'm doing this because this was really powerful. I was amazed at how well each day went, what really big aha moments people were having. These are just some of the comments that I got. The way you address the correlation between leadership and self-worth resonated with me. It was a refreshing take on often overlooked topics. This is definitely an issue that we all face, but women in particular can be vulnerable to. I did put a sneak peek of the leadership challenge as a podcast episode back in January. So if you wanted to hear a little bit of how it works or what we did during that challenge, go back and listen to that podcast episode and you'll know. Gotten great comments from that too. I was absolutely captivated by your discussion on day 7. Your insights on transitioning from proving oneself to leading with purpose were profound. It's a transformation that will yield remarkable results in the creative world. This is a really powerful comment. It is a really powerful program, and it's something that I wanted to make excuse-proof. You can get in for $30. No one can say they don't have $30. And it is literally 12 days, 15 minutes a day. The goal is you listen to it in the morning, either while you are getting ready, eating breakfast, enjoying your morning coffee, maybe even on your commute. And then you work on putting those practices into place. I give you things to work on every day while you are in the office. It is a very low time commitment, very low financial commitment, and is so valuable. Women need this more than ever. We need to let go of old stories, old beliefs. We need to take back a narrative that can be holding us back. And we also need to realize that we've bought into that narrative. And the biggest shift happens when we stop being available to play that game. Now, since we are kicking off Women's History Month with Women in Construction Week in the AEC industry, I wanted to share some insights around this, and also wanted to point out that when we say women in construction, it's easy to think just contracting industry, and that is an important group to think about. But if you are an architect, if you are an engineer, if you are an interior designer, if you are an owner or an owner's rep, you are touching the construction industry with the work that you are doing. So this has a much broader application. As of November of 2024, just 14% of all construction employees were women. So we don't have a very big impact on the industry, although there is potential there. In a survey that Jobsite did, and Jobsite is a subsidiary of Procore Construction Software, of 1,001 women in construction, 78% love their jobs. So this is a good thing. It means they want to stay. They identified their 6 biggest challenges. Now, some of these challenges are universal. They are not specific to women. They are industry challenges, but I wanted to surface and talk a little bit about. Number 1, well, 80% of the women in this survey said they felt their coworkers respected them. Only 65% said that their company's leadership listens to men and women equally. And this comes down to the feeling that their opinions didn't have the same weight and that it was a struggle to have their voice heard. There was a lot of, it didn't matter what I said until somebody else who was a male coworker said the same thing, and then all of a sudden it got attention. And I have to say, this is a common thing that we hear throughout the AEC industry from women, that we don't feel heard. And I have a specific section in the Leadership Challenge that deals with this because it is such a problem. The most insidious part of this being a problem is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The first time that this happens to us, we might feel hurt or dismissed or disrespected. But if it happens more than once, we start to expect that our opinion isn't going to be valued. We start to go into a room feeling defensive because we already believe that the outcome is a foregone conclusion. And then we lose control of the narrative. Instead of whatever we had to say being about the topic at hand, it becomes about how we were too emotional, too aggressive, too defensive, that we're a bitch. All of these tired narratives that get applied to women that supersede what we are actually saying, that allow people to focus on how they want to perceive us, and then the value of what we have to say is completely swallowed up and it never gets heard. I know a man can do the same thing and not have the same perception of their behavior, which can absolutely be frustrating. However, if we want to be heard, we have to be able to reach people in a way that they will be receptive so that we can meaningfully contribute and be seen as a leader and somebody who can navigate successfully to a solution, who can cut through what isn't working, who can call out things that need to be called out without coming across in a negative way. And one of the biggest ways to claim respect is not to be available, to not be heard. That doesn't mean pushing back. It doesn't mean being aggressive. It means doing your homework, arming yourself with facts, speaking directly and clearly, and I will tell you this for free, often we voice a suggestion or an opinion and then we just let it go. And we hope that people really heard us. We hope that they were engaged and paying attention, even though research has shown that most people's attention span is about 7 seconds. Less than a goldfish, I might say. A goldfish's attention span is 9 seconds, and most people are thinking about themselves. So we got the courage to make a suggestion, and it took everything in us just to put it out there. And as soon as we're done talking, we just back away. And then we wait to see people pay attention to it. A different way to do this is to invite people to engage with you. So before you offer your suggestion, you need to frame it. You need to, first of all, capture people's attention. You need to say, I've been looking into this and I've got some really interesting research or some ideas or some things we want to kick around. Let's brainstorm. Immediately, you created psychological safety. You have put them on alert that they need to be engaged because there's going to be an interaction happening. You've told them that you've done research, so you've got information that they maybe don't have. So everyone wants to learn more, and you are appealing to the common ground, which is wanting to work through the issues successfully. So you haven't gone in there defensive. You haven't brought in emotions or baggage that might be triggering for others in the room. You are inviting people to a conversation. The next thing to do is to start with a question. Whatever you've got to suggest is some form of a solution. People don't care about solutions unless it taps into their pain points. We tap into pain points by asking a leading question. Invite one of your coworkers to share what they think the biggest issue is, and then build on that. Keep adding your information, and these cliffhangers that you then introduce keep people engaged. Asking questions makes people pay attention. Seeing that there's a dialogue happening activates people's attention. These are really effective ways to be heard. And then they can say what they think. And you could even write it down on a whiteboard or take notes, use a digital whiteboard. You can ask other people to do the same. You could do an interactive exercise where you hand out Post-it notes and you ask people to say what they think the biggest issue is. You have taken the room back. You haven't had to fight for attention. You've been able to command the conversation. You've been able to start in a way that feels accessible, safe, and like you are hearing and seeing everybody. So they're going to want to hear and see you, giving everyone in the room, including the other women who might be sitting there, a chance to have their voice heard. You can do this as a much bigger exercise, or you can do this as something that takes 2 to 5 minutes. So if you're in a meeting that has a time limit, you might go for the shorter way of doing this, where you just gather a few suggestions, say what you believe is the pain point, and you'll see that the other people's suggestions probably feed into what you were thinking. So now they feel like you are co-creating the solution. They're going to be more receptive to listening to you. They're going to have more respect for you because you made them look good. You made them feel comfortable. You created psychological safety. This is something I do a lot. It is a reason that I'm often sought out as a leader. I'm asked to be on boards. The reason this happens to me over and over and over again, and I don't always go looking for these opportunities, is because people see that. They see that proactiveness. They see that engagement, and that makes them want to work with me. The biggest myth of leadership is that it is about administration or management or coaching. That is not true. Leaders hold big vision. Leaders give people glasses. They help people see what they couldn't see on their own. Leaders take people somewhere. Leaders also realize that not everybody is ready to hear the message, and they are okay with that. That clarity, that resolve earns you respect. The people that are ready to hear what you have to say, the people that share your vision, the people who you resonate with are going to follow, and you're going to accomplish great things together. That is the biggest message that I hope women in any industry can take away when it comes to feeling seen or heard, feeling that you are not respected. Don't buy into the narrative. Don't succumb to what you see as a repeating pattern. Don't count yourself out. You might be angry. You might have every reason in the world to be angry, totally justified in that anger. But carrying that anger around leads to resentment. Resentment causes you to show up in a different way. If you think about it, who do you like spending the most time with? People who are positive, people who are fun to be around, people who are uplifting, or people who are always angry and have a chip in their shoulder and only ever see the glass half full and read into every encounter they have based on a narrative they've created. They've put a filter up and they can only see what corresponds to that filter. They can't see anything else, and everything just keeps feeding the narrative of their anger. Don't be that person. This is the time to break free from all of that and to go in a direction that you believe in, that resonates with you, and because of that, will resonate with others. If you would like to do more of this work with me, make sure you get into the Leadership Challenge. It is 12 days. It is incredibly valuable content that you can put to use right now, every day in your work, and you will see a difference. Go to my website, architectingpodcast.com. You can see it right there on the front page. It is completely self-guided, so you can start anytime. The classes start every single Monday. So when you sign up, you're in and you get access to the course. Every day you get the next lesson and you just go from there and let it take you somewhere. Thanks for listening, everyone, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for listening. If you want even more content, head on over to architectingpodcast.com and subscribe to my newsletter and get some great free downloads while you're there. Be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram at Architecting Podcast, Facebook and LinkedIn pages are Architecting, and the YouTube channel Architecting Podcast. Stay inspired.